All right, welcome back to the White Monster podcast with our second international guest, Tayla Ford. For those who don't know Tayla, Olympian, Commonwealth Games medalist on 2 occasions, ADCC trials medalist, my first wrestling coach, a wonderful person, Tayla Ford.
Hi.
Well, welcome. First of all, congratulations are in order.
Thank you.
Yeah, so baby Tayla on the way.
Yeah, boy.
Boy.
Yeah, boy.
So, yeah, like I said, for those, obviously we're a jiu-jitsu heavy podcast. For those who don't know Tayla, one of the most exceptional athletes to ever come out of Australia and New Zealand. I believe the first woman to ever represent New Zealand in wrestling at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Has there been a male representative for wrestling?
So I was maybe the 6th wrestler
Okay.
for New Zealand, and the rest were men. Yeah, and the first female. So,
Excellent. Yeah. We met maybe 6-7 years ago. Tayla,
Yeah, I think I started, 2019?
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Tayla came into the gym to do
What was
some...
that, AJ?
Yeah, to do some jiu-jitsu and was just ragdolling everyone. It was so funny. There's nothing better than seeing these guys try and train with Tayla for the first time and then just realise that they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just talk a little bit about your experience at the Olympics first, and then we'll move on from there. So take it away. Tell us about Paris.
All right, so first I had to qualify via Egypt through the Africa Oceania Olympic qualifier, and that was in March. So I did that. I wrestled Egypt, bet Egypt, qualified. It was a little bit surreal, that whole qualification thing, because I was so nervous. I was sweating so much. I probably lost more weight in that 24 hours waiting, because the first girl I was supposed to have, she ended up having a bye because she had an injury, so she couldn't see out of her eye because they had a competition a couple of days before.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was like, oh fuck. I was like, I have to get over my first match nerves, but the
But in a
most
later
important
match
match was the first match, so I was like, oh shit. But no, it went really good. A lot of people told me not to do like the fireman's throw that I always do, just because like I think a lot of people knew that's what I did, so they tried to make me a bit sneaky, but I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. Did it, pinned her, qualified, and that was really good.
What was that feeling like, knowing that you were going to the Olympics? Because I know for you it had been a long road trying to get to the Olympics. You'd obviously already medalled at Commonwealth Games twice, but that, even like such a high prestigious tournament, doesn't qualify you for the Olympics. That's a totally separate qualification process.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot harder that way. So over the years of qualifying for the Olympics, for any country, the process has gotten harder and harder. It used to be win Oceanias, you go to the Olympics, whereas now obviously it's on a world stage where you have to go through 2 continental tournaments, or like 2 continents to qualify. So I think I spent 12 years trying to qualify. I initially decided, I think from 2012, that I wanted to go to the Olympics properly, because I think they were going to take wrestling out.
Yeah.
And I was playing rugby at the time, and I was in the Go for Gold Sevens team, and trialling for that. I think for Rio at the time. We were in the team for 4 years for Rio, and I had a phone call from the coach, and he told me I had to either choose rugby or wrestling. So I chose wrestling and gave up rugby, because I've been doing it the longest, and also it was going out and I wanted to make it for my first sport. So I didn't qualify for London. It was a very short time frame to prepare. For Rio, I missed out by 1 placing, and then in the world tournaments I missed out by 2 placings, so that sucked, but it was okay. And then for Tokyo, the day I was supposed to leave for a qualifier, COVID hit, competition got cancelled, so I didn't train properly, and then when they did have the qualifiers I wasn't ready for it, so I missed out on that one entirely. And then I think before Birmingham Games I decided I was going to like just quit competing, and then I got convinced, and then I talked to a psychiatrist, and then I was like, oh shit, I'll go back on the long list. Did that, had fun, and then I don't know, a year before I'm like, I'm going to go to the Olympics. And then I just like told everybody, and then just did the process, made it, qualified. But even after qualifying, the processes, I have to wait. New Zealand Olympic Committee have to process all of my competitions that I did to make sure that I'm a good candidate to be going. So even after qualifying, I still have to wait to be accepted on the team. So luckily I was accepted because I met all criteria needs, and then I could get preparing for the Olympics.
Yeah, something just interesting that you touched on there was how, because we were friends during that period where you were thinking about stopping competing.
Yeah.
And then I remember when you came back, well, maybe I was away and came back and you'd seen the psychiatrist, and talking to you after that, your mental shift was so massive, and you talked to me about some of the things that psychiatrist talked to you about in regards of like how you thought about competing, and I just want to talk a little bit about how your sort of perception changed after that discussion with the psychiatrist. So what specifically made you go from, is this something I want to do, maybe not, to I'm going to be an Olympian?
I think I'm more important than the sport itself, and what I want, I'm going to get, no matter how long it takes for me to get it. Because at the time, like, I've always wanted to compete because I've always wanted, you know, people to be like, oh, Tayla, like, she's amazing. I mean, I am. But at the end of the day, I was like, look, I'm the only one that should be proud of my accomplishments, and what I do, I should be proud of it. And I didn't really take that step back to have a look at my accomplishments. I mean, I made history at 21 when I was the first female to medal at the Commonwealth Games. And then making history again twice in my life. I never thought I would. It was something that I really want to do, and I already did it. So having a life goal, I guess, you know, haven't really lived long if you're 20, but like I had already ticked off what I wanted to do for my big accomplishment, but doing it twice was quite exciting. But before that, the mental shift was I got myself here. Like I haven't had a proper coach, I don't know, like 12 years. Yeah. So since I wanted to start competing and trying for the Olympics, I haven't had a coach. So everything I've done was for myself. I went and studied sport to figure everything out for myself, nutrition and all of that for myself, by myself. So really, I got myself to the Olympics. I got myself to all the 3 Commonwealth Games. I got myself in those medal spots. Yeah, pretty much.
Something people probably don't know is and something maybe you don't even realize is we would talk a lot at the gym, and I would gain a lot of like inspiration and like just I would take away a lot of things you would talk about in terms of like your thought process, and like you said, you had done all this on your own. So luckily for me, having you there, getting to talk to you, especially about how you're like programming your training and things, is like things I got to take away a lot from you specifically. And another thing people might not know is before the ADCC trials I ran, you were actually, because I'd come back from the US, you were actually one of my main training partners. You would come in early in the mornings to help me wrestle, and in that trials run is when I had my most wrestling success. So, you know, I definitely want to credit you while I've got you here for all the help you gave me, not only in wrestling, but on like the mental side of things too. You've been a great attribute for my career for sure. And I just want to throw that in there. Now, going to Paris, Olympic Village. Tell us all about that.
It was good. So I don't know if many people know me, but I'm a hermit, and I love staying at home and in my room. Especially if I'm overseas, I'll stay in my room. It's fun. I go there, get the job done. But this time I was like, look, it's the Olympic Games. I'm going to go and explore. So it was huge. So compared to the Commonwealth Games villages are huge, but then the Olympic Games village was bigger. So we trained in the village. It was about a 5-minute walk from where New Zealand was stationed. Even then, I was spoiled, and I was like, it's too far. I was like, I need a bike. It's like, where's the golf caddy? I need to be driven. But I sucked it up and I walked there. But yeah, you needed like a little wee bus thing to take all the way around the village. It had its own weights room, and they were huge. It had saunas. Like I said, there was this big hall, and it had 2 areas of this big hall with just wrestling. You couldn't see anyone. Like if you're in your wrestling room, you can see the other room, which had fencing. I think there was like 5 areas, like training areas in this big hall. And then just before that was the big food hall, and that was huge. It was like 100 meters of a food hall, and it was just food everywhere. And they had like different sections of the food hall with like Western, like Asian and stuff, like Indian sort of foods. And then they just had normal deli foods. It was crazy. It was huge.
It's not ideal when you're cutting weight, but I imagine after it was exceptional.
Well, I think they make it so you have to walk? Well, it's not far. Again, it's like 5 minutes. You have to walk so far to get the food. I think that helps. No, but it isn't ideal. But they have like a lot of picky food, so you can like pick food.
Snack,
yeah. And they have like little activity areas like too, which normally I wouldn't do, but I did it. Anyway, and it was real fun. So I got like Olympic bags, you got these pins. Something I gave to Miles was like a gold Corona bottle engraved and stuff. Unfortunately, I couldn't put his name on it. I had to put my own, so I'm on there. But so he doesn't forget. But they had like a little non-alcoholic like bar area that athletes could like chill out and stuff. And then they had just food vendors like everywhere throughout the village. Little drink vendors with like Powerade, Coca-Cola, Sprite and stuff like that, obviously free. And when I did see my partner, because he came to watch, and I left the village, oh my god, it was so expensive.
Yeah,
it was like €7 for a Coke, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy that. I was like,
you're like, I'll wait until I get back.
I was like, oh my god. I was like, but I did take him a whole bunch of like drinks and food and stuff anyway, and gave it to him. Because I was like, fuck, it's so expensive. It was crazy.
Saving $50 on 3 Cokes, just taking them out of the village.
It was nuts. But that was like euros. So it was €7.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then even outside, they had all these people just waiting outside the village to like trade pins. And they had these like booklets of like pins. Because that's the thing before the end of the Olympic Games. So before you trade pins with all the other countries, and you always like hunt down the smaller countries because they're ones that like rare,
more exclusive pins.
Yeah. And then at the end of the games, everyone like changes clothes, so they all just like switch their uniforms and stuff like that. But I didn't stay for that, so I didn't go for the opening ceremony or the closing. I don't like that sort of stuff.
It's too much.
It's too long. Like you see it, and maybe for you watching it on TV, it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
it's
the thing is, you just watch your country and you're like, yes, and then you turn it off. Yeah. Whereas if you're there, I imagine it's a full day event.
Yeah, it's like, it was almost like, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, it's like close to 6 hours. Like everyone gets ready, it takes an hour to get to the venue. You have to wait like 1 or 2 hours until it's your turn to get on the boat, because obviously they wouldn't have enough boats for all the countries, so they have to cycle through. Then you're on your boat for however long you're on the river, and then you got to get off, wait for everybody to get off, wait for the buses to go back. So I'm like, nah. I was like, no, I'm old, so I don't want to do that. But I think the closing ceremony would have been cool. But my partner and I, we ended up exploring and leaving the day after I competed, and going to Italy instead. Oh,
that's a good trade-off for sure.
A little bit, yeah.
And then competition day, I remember I was watching. Thankfully, in the US, it was all you could watch every match of everything.
Yeah, which
was very fortunate. And I remember it was early morning, US time, and I remember you walking out to the mats, and it was like, it was such an experience because you had the match with the French lady.
I know.
In France.
Yeah.
So the crowd, although maybe it wasn't for you, it was so electric. I imagine the feeling walking out would have been so surreal.
It was like, it was loud anyway underneath, because we came out from underneath the seats, and we didn't account to wrestle France. Like I was like, okay, France. Like I've wrestled France before. It was just France, and I was like, fuck, we're in France. And I was like, I just gaslit it. I'm like, yeah, they're cheering for me. No, but I was like, I think a couple minutes before going out, I was like, fuck. I was like, this is it. I was like, the match is going to be done in 6 minutes. I was just like, oh fuck, I don't want it to be over, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that might have been the wrong thing to think at the time, but I think I started to get a little bit like, oh fuck, I don't want it to end, sort of thing. And for me, I really realized how much I loved wrestling just before going out. And then wrestling, I don't know, she was like grimacing a little bit and smiling. I was like, okay, I'll smile back. So I was like, I don't know what she's doing, but okay. But yeah, but it was really, really fun. Like leading up, I had a fair few injuries leading up, so I did my best to sort of overcome them, not think of them. I even had like the physio in my corner to fix my shoulder because it was so bad. And then she fucking ended up torn one-ing my
on the bad
injured
shoulder.
arm. So I was like, fuck it, whatever. I was like, because at first when I was trying to get out, I was like, oh, it's gonna fucking hurt, and then it did, but I was like, fuck it, I don't care. I was like, 6 minutes.
Yeah, this is the one, the 6 minutes I'm waiting for.
Yeah, so I wrestled and did what I could under the circumstances, and I enjoyed it. I loved it, and I came away happy and proud of myself, and that's all I could really ask for.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. An experience like that, it's like such few people ever experience.
Yeah. So for us, I think it's 0.02%.
That's insane.
of our nation. Yeah, New Zealand. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
so
very small.
crazy. And that's all Olympic sports, yeah?
Yep.
And you
Yeah.
are the one
Yeah.
to ever experience what it's like as a woman to wrestle at the Olympics for your nation.
Yeah.
That's
And
a pretty incredible stat,
Yeah, and it's really cool because I got the Olympic tattoo on my shoulder, and like they were like, oh wow, like that's so cool. I was like, yeah. And I was like, show me yours when you get yours, sort of thing. So like, you go to the Olympics too.
Yeah.
And there was like another girl. She's like, oh fuck. She's like, I wanted to be the first female. I was like, well, maybe you can be the youngest female to go. You know. I was like, there's heaps of firsts you can do.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that.
The amount of people, not only from New Zealand but Australia, and you would have inspired because you coach here in South Australia, and like to have a coach who's been to the Olympics is insane.
Yeah.
M16 was very lucky to have you for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it was a good year. I went to ADCC, you went to the Olympics. We had so many guys fight pro MMA. It's like I don't think a gym in Australia, let alone in Adelaide, will ever sort of see that for a long time.
Yeah, pretty much. Like for wrestling in Australia, they had 2 qualify men from the same state, which is like pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, SAs only, and it's me, and I'm so happy. And it makes me happy. Like we have like some young boys who want to go to the Olympics, and I think them being like, oh yeah, my coach is an Olympian, stuff like that. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, you're like such an inspiration for everyone, and the whole of wrestling in South Australia has sort of been put on your shoulders for so long, and now I've seen your dedication to giving everything you can to these guys coming up. I remember when I got back from ADCC, you had this notebook of like, I'm going to take the guys from this tournament to this tournament to this tournament to this tournament and every week was like blocked out, and you'd had it set for them. All they had to do was listen and like follow what instruction you had, and you were like, we're going to get them from here to here to here in this order. Yeah,
so I learned how to do some periodization planning, and I implemented it. So I haven't had a break from wrestling since October. So it's just like every day is wrestling. And even like Tuesdays, I don't do any coaching on Tuesdays, but I'll start planning like next week. So we just had Victoria States, and the main focus was to find our work-ons for nationals. So we did that. And we got a lot of work on. So we got back yesterday from driving from Melbourne, and then we trained in the evening a couple hours later anyway. And everyone showed up that went, so I'm really happy about that. It wasn't a hard training, but yeah, so we got a few weeks to work on. And so they know that. And so I've told them that. And so thankfully they've started writing in their like journal so I could see what they wanted to work on, which helps me get them through all of that, because we even started doing some like mindset stuff on the board too before we left and then when we got back. So yeah, I think the mindset side is really important, especially for athletes and especially male athletes, because they don't really like sharing. No.
No, it's very hard. And yeah, that's something again, like in our discussions, like you would sort of coax out of me, I think. Even with me unknowing, you would be like, so what are you going to do now? What are you feeling now? Like just questions like this. And I think like at the time I was just like, what the fuck is she asking? But now I can sort of see and appreciate what you were sort of looking for. Something I want to sort of ask you, you've made like, you made your dream come true going to the Olympics. What was it like after?
Oh, like directly after? My partner had a terrible time. So like, the big thing was that they wanted us to plan something after the games because the whole post-comp depression, they wanted to try and hinder that as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that's why we went to Italy after, and we planned something like that. But I think just being overwhelmed, not really depression, just I got sick, and then I was just like annoyed at things, I wasn't training anymore, like all of a sudden just stopped sort of.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had a terrible like first week holiday. I'm sorry. But then after it was really good, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I was just happy with what I had achieved. I was happy to sort of deserve the time off as well. I had burnt myself out a little bit because I competed about like 5 comps within like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And that was a lot. I mean, we didn't really know how to prepare properly. New Zealand didn't really know how to prepare properly for an Olympics. So all they did was just ask me, and I was like, oh no, this. And they're like, okay. So all up, it cost me about $30,000 from the year before to the end of the Olympics to do everything. And luckily I had Miles, who helped a lot with the fundraising, which helped a bit. New Zealand Wrestling sponsored me some money as well, and other people did too, and it was really, really good and helpful. So I didn't fork too much of my own money out, which was good because I quit working. But doing all that, so I was really happy. I deserved to have that time off, and it really made me think, like, look, I've reached the highest point I can in wrestling. What do I want to do next? And it came down to coaching, and then I decided I want to coach people to Commonwealth, World and Olympic level.
Yeah. Is there any standouts we should be looking at that are looking at making these levels that you see major potential?
So with the guys I have at the club currently, we're just working towards getting them international first.
Yeah.
So we did have 3. I've also doing some coaching for one boy in Tasmania as well. So I guess 4. One boy just got injured, so he couldn't wrestle international. So we got 3 currently in international level, which is good. So we've just gone to Asia, like the Asian sort of, like Southeast Asian sort of international side of things, which are doing well. And hopefully we can get to like Europe next year. So that's just my plan for my guys. If anyone else wants to jump on, I don't care. I'll do it. I'll do your plan. But yeah, so that's all we've gone to. So maybe the Olympics this year, because obviously I'm in Australia, I can't really have too much say on who I think. That's up to Australia to decide, as well as we've got Youth Olympic Games next year. So we've got a bunch of youth that we're focusing on as well. So we're just trying to bring the youth up to like international standard, like world Olympic international standard at the moment. So I'm just trying to work with some of the coaches on that side doing that. But for my students, I'm just trying to get them international, like anything. International.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, like get out of SA.
That's such a, competing myself, that's such a, like, you feel like it's different when you're not in the same country that you're used to, you know, especially if it's a foreign language speaking country.
That's why I always hid in my room.
Yeah. It's like, it's quite intimidating because you're like already nervous to compete, and then you're waiting for them to call your name, and like, have they called me? Have I missed it? Because the language is different. I remember like when I started competing in Japan, it was like, it was set up so differently than like tournament here. You would have your time, whereas they would give you a number, and you'd be waiting for your match number, which actually made it easier. But when you're first there and you're like, are they skipping my number? Like everything's tense, and you're like, I don't know what to do. And then when you get out there, it's okay because it's still the same sport, but it's like, just the feeling is different.
Yeah, it is. I guess wrestling's a little bit different in that sense because like you have boards and you just look for your name. Yeah. And generally people call your name. Yeah. And they yell and they get mad at you. So you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, because a lot of people just take their time, whether it to be to psych the other person out or just because they lost a shoe. I don't know. But yeah, so they're a little bit more organised in the international wrestling scene. Yeah. I guess when it becomes local and stuff, like we're always running behind time. Yeah. No one's ready. No one's even got these singlets on, sort of thing. But like whatever. Like it's not serious, sort of thing. But yeah, international for them. If I have to go, I'll go with them if it's only just a couple people. Or like, especially my guys, but if it's like a big Australian team, I'm like, you'll be fine. Yeah. You have everybody there.
People look after.
Yeah, and I think for the younger kids, like under 14 or like under 15s, I want to send them to New Zealand because one, they speak English, they're not far from Australia, and everyone's helpful anyway.
Culturally similar.
Yeah, and I know them as well, so it's easier. So I want to sort of get the younger ones getting international by going to like New Zealand, where it's like not so different. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
not quite the shock of like going to, like you said, Southeast Asia and then like, everything's different.
Yeah,
like,
a little bit.
I can't even cross the street without getting hit by 40 taxis.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and especially being such a small country in wrestling as well. Like usually I was the only person from New Zealand. So that was a little bit intimidating too, because I wouldn't have a team. I would have no one to warm up with. Yeah, and I think some places have gone with no coach as well. So I've just been by myself.
Totally solo.
Yeah.
You've been to some super interesting places too to compete. You want to tell us about some of the more maybe obscure places you've competed? I've
been to Algeria. That was the weirdest one. Probably won't go back there. Just because like when you would travel from hotel to venue, it'd always be a different route, and you'd be like, okay, that's fine, like whatever, this is different. And then they're like, oh, so we don't get bombed. You're like, okay. That makes sense, thank you. So yeah, probably wouldn't go back there. I've been to Mongolia. That was really fun. I really enjoyed Mongolia. It was just so different because like I think it's more so the architecture of the place was different. Like you'd be in this big square in where were we? In their capital, Ulaanbaatar or something. And it was like this big ass square in front of the parliament building. You have like Roman style buildings, and you have like Asian style buildings, and you have like these other style buildings. I was like, this is so weird. It was just strange, and I just really enjoyed it. People were really lovely, and they always smiled and stuff. So that was really cool. So it was like one of my most favorite experiences. Where else have I been? Egypt. That wasn't so weird, but I loved it because, you know, when you're a child, you learn about Egypt and the pyramids and like the Sphinx. So we went on that tour to Cairo because we were competing in Alexander, and we went on the tour in Cairo, and I didn't realize how close the Sphinx is to the pyramids. It's like a couple hundred, if that, meters away. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is weird. Yeah, so it was so strange to see. It was really, really cool. I loved it. And I'll probably go back just for the pyramids.
Is that impressive?
And congestion. Yeah.
That's interesting, especially like Algeria and stuff. Somewhere I went last year, Kazakhstan.
I love Kazakhstan. That was good.
I couldn't believe how amazing the country was. Like, it's stunning. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
the buildings?
Yeah.
So cool.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And we're older than Astana.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's only like maybe when I went, it was like 2019. It was only like 21, 25 years old.
That's insane because it's stunning. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the people. Everyone was so kind. It was like, I flew out after one of my matches last year, and it took me 44 hours to get there from Houston, and I was in Kazakhstan for 40 hours.
Oh.
I competed and left, and I was like, I have to go back. There's one place that I've got to go back to.
Yeah.
It's so stunning. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was really cool. I love the nighttime lights that they have on all the buildings.
Yeah.
In even daytime. It was really cool. And I think, did you eat the horse?
Yes.
Did you drink that milk?
The milk? Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
You know, when in Rome.
Yeah.
But it's not something I'm going to be doing every day.
I destroyed, I don't know if you tried them, but the cottage cheese pancakes.
Oh, no, I didn't get to have
them. So delicious, yeah. So I had about 5 kilos to lose in like 2 days because I kept eating the cottage cheese pancakes. I lost it, but then there was a terrible weight cut because I lost it, obviously, too much weight too quickly.
What tournament was this for?
Worlds.
This was the Worlds?
Yeah, in Kazakhstan. And yeah, I ended up power vomiting after weigh-in because I like gorged myself straight after weigh-ins and then just power vomited, and I was like, I can't wrestle. I was like, I have no strength. But I was like, oh shit. Yeah, so I didn't do that again. But you know, like, I don't know if you've ever done it, but you cut weight well and you're like, oh, this is really good, and then you're like, oh, it'll be easy next time, and it's harder, and you need that lesson so you can go cut weight properly again.
I haven't cut weight for a long time. My next match is at 205 pounds, it's 93 kilos.
Wow.
So this is going to be the first time I've cut for a while.
I think I'm almost 90 kilos. Not even joking.
That's 2 people though. That doesn't count.
True. Well, I'm carrying it, so.
So this is going to be interesting. I got a couple of people looking at how we're going to do it, so I'm not overly worried about it. Guys I trust at the gym,
yeah,
so. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a test. I definitely prefer being at heavyweight, but
yeah,
being I'm definitely undersized as a heavyweight, so I think this is going to be good. career
you'll find
trajectory.
you'll find a way to do it, and then you'll be like, oh, it's not as bad.
It's not as bad as I think it's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The starting point was like 106, 107. So
It's a fair bit to
I've moved down. I'm around 99 now. So
that's
6
not so
kilos
bad.
is easy.
Yeah, and you
like-
feel fine now.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel better
oh,
than
good.
ever. Like, I'm fitter. Thankfully, a guy, he runs a gym called Atomic. His name's Todd. At B Team, he put me on a cardio program.
Oh, good.
Basically, just called me fat until I lost all the weight. And
Takes 12 weeks to get fit.
yeah, he put me on a really good VO2 max increasing program, using a lot of long rides and little different modes of cardio exercise. So, yeah, basically bullied me into being fit, but I definitely needed it. Like, it definitely showed in my last tournament. Like, I was not tired. I was just ready to go and also
You kind of don't want to have those sort of things in competitions because you want to grow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I didn't want to be 108 kilos anymore, just snoring while I'm walking and still awake, just heavy breathing
So
everywhere.
no one had to look for you. They could hear you.
They could hear me coming. The big bright red head from the increased blood pressure wasn't a good look
Probably get
either.
vertigo turning around.
Turn around too quick. Yeah, so I feel better than ever. So I'm hoping 205 is going to be.
Yeah, you don't
my
realise. Just
best
because you
weight
feel
class.
strong and you can compete and train. Yeah,
I'm
heavy.
just lifting heavy weights.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then anything over 10 minutes, I'm just dying.
Yeah,
But yeah.
everything getting fuzzy.
Oh, yeah, a lot of that. But luckily, Austin has a lot of good Mexican food, so putting the weight on wasn't a problem. But getting it off will be a lot easier now I'm at home, for sure.
Have you ever done like allergy tests and stuff for yourself to find out what foods you shouldn't eat?
I haven't done anything like that, no.
Might help you lose weight faster too.
But I don't want to know. What if they tell me all my favourite things?
I guess you could, like, if you're intolerances, I mean, you just have to cut them down for a little bit.
I don't know if I'm willing. If they tell me I can't eat bread, it's over for me.
I'm like intolerant to corn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so like there's a lot of foods that have corn in it, like even some protein powders. So I don't eat protein powder. I just eat meat, sort of thing. But oh man, like there's so much food, and I'm just like, oh, I only have to eat it like once a week. So yeah, like you make do for it.
You can adjust. We'll start to wrap it up. But there's one question that I like to ask everyone that I've had on the podcast, and it's, what is your end goal? No, in wrestling, in life, in just, what is the end goal for Tayla Ford?
I want to encourage people to do what they want to do, whether it's in sport or life, to challenge themselves as well, because if you don't challenge yourselves, you're not going to want to do anything in life. Like, the harder the challenge, the easier it is to do, sort of thing. And for me, like, I'll share what I can. And so currently what I'm doing is I'm working with Wrestling Australia to do workshops and seminars around Australia. I mean, I've been wrestling for 25 years. I spent a lot of money on it. So, you know, it's very expensive knowledge, and I want to put it out and give everybody my experience and knowledge of wrestling and techniques, so they don't have to fork out the money that I have in order to go and learn it. I mean, there's not such a huge influx of new knowledge, so I want to share what I know to everybody that I can. And I'm very open to people, so we've got maybe a couple of people wanting to come to Adelaide to train as well. So I'm open to that too. So I just want people to get what they want out of me. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you very much, Tayla. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for everything you've given me over the years, and
You're
I
welcome.
just appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Perfect.